What's going on, everyone? I'm just a typical, average American here today to react and learn about Canada's next Prime Minister. The votes are in. Canadians have decided, and it is Mark Carney. Mark Carney? Mark Carney? Mark Carney? Who's Mark Carney? Who is that? What? Mark Carney? To be honest, that is exactly what most of us Americans are thinking right now. And also, the other question that I have today is, what exactly does this mean for Canada? So I want to take a look at some of these news articles here today. Liberal leadership race, Mark Carney, elected in landslide to be the next Prime Minister of Canada. So it's actually a landslide victory, which I think, from what I was learning about, a week or so ago, this is not all that unexpected. I think he was the favorite, right? So it says, political newcomer promises to fight for Canadian economy and sovereignty. And I'm guessing that's alluding to the United States, which recently, with recent events, the sovereignty and independence of Canada from the United States is actually becoming like a big issue. Like, actually, it's pretty crazy. So I didn't actually realize Mark Carney was a political newcomer. Isn't he, like, he was a banker? Or he had something to do with banks. I'm showing my ignorance here a little bit. So there's a video here that might help me out, might bail me out.
Outsider, not a...
Whoa, okay. It's already, it just wants to start. Okay, no problem. This is like perfect. Who is Mark Carney? That's the name of this little video. It's like they knew I was coming and that I didn't understand. So let's see.
This is no time for politics as usual.
Mark Carney pitched himself as an outsider, not a politician, but someone who would have the skills needed to meet the moment.
No, it's not the time for lifelong politicians such as Pierre Poilievre.
He was born in Fort Smith.
Interesting. That's something. Wow. Interesting. I can kind of relate to this guy. That's something I've said before, where it's like, generally feels like it's good to get people outside of the political realm to come in and do politics. People that are like more in touch with like normal everyday sort of people, like this guy who's not a career politician. Funny enough, that was originally the selling points of Donald Trump back in the day when he first ran. He was just some, eccentric billionaire reality TV show host. And look how far it's come. That was one of his selling points to Americans was, okay, I'm not a politician. I'm going to come in and actually represent you guys. And that took some twists and turns to get to where we are today. But that could be a reality TV show all in and of itself. But anyway, that's sort of the messaging that Mark Carney has been using, because he comes from the sort of the banking world, right?
Time for lifelong politicians such as Pierre Poilievre.
He was born in Fort Smith, Northwest Territories, raised in...
Oh, look at this! This is why he won! The hockey! A true Canadian. They got the pictures playing hockey as a teenager. That's so funny. It's like it's not even a stereotype. It seems that a lot of Canadians do play hockey, at least when you grow up. That's pretty cool.
His father, Bob, ran for the Liberals, coming in second to the Progressive Conservatives. Carney studied economics abroad, earning a bachelor's degree from Harvard University before getting his master's and PhD from Oxford.
Whoa! Whoa! Okay. Jeez. I don't know, like, I'm not on the pulse of what, like, all Canadians think about Mark Carney or, your government or leadership or the direction Canada is going. Maybe I can get some insight from all this news reporting, but just on its face value, just for, as an American who really doesn't know much of anything about anything, especially this stuff, Mark Carney seems like it's nice that he's an outsider to politics, and that he seems really, really highly educated. It's all sounding pretty good.
Or getting his master's and PhD from Oxford. For 13 years, he worked for global investment banking firm Goldman Sachs before holding several senior positions at the Bank of Canada and in the finance department in Ottawa.
CPP, QPP is not federal money. It is shared money for all Canadians.
In 2008, then Prime Minister...
So does this background in finance and economics have anything to do with like what Canadians are most concerned about right now? I know part of selecting Canadian leadership, part of it is like they have to deal with Donald Trump and the American government. That's literally, and it's like, okay, we need someone who can like deal with this crazy situation. I know that's part of it, but there's obviously got to be other issues in Canada going on, like any country. And Mark Carney seems to specialize in, he must know a lot about finances and that kind of thing. Are Canadians hoping he's going to kind of use this background to help steer the Canadian economy, that kind of thing? Or I would assume so.
Minister Stephen Harper appointed Carney to run the Bank of Canada, the second youngest bank governor ever.
Wow.
Some of the world's largest financial institutions have recorded substantial losses.
Amid the global financial crisis, Carney called for widespread reforms to the world's financial system.
Double hats on this week as head of the International Financial Stability Board, so delighted you're able to join us, Mark.
Working alongside Harper Conservatives, Carney was credited for how well Canada weathered the financial storm compared to other nations. Even named as one of Time magazine's 100 most influential people in 2010.
Really, it's so funny how this stuff works out. It's like, I'm sure Mark Carney was known in his little banking finance circles and as this up and coming, like, and he led the Bank of Canada and all that. But like for the normal everyday person, I'm like, this was just some like banker finance dude, just like behind the scenes, like doing all these crazy, amazing things like in the background. So
the only central banker on the list, alongside people like U.S. President Barack Obama.
Canada has shone, relatively speaking, in the world during the period of time in which Governor Carney has served as the governor of the Bank of Canada.
In 2013, Carney became the governor of the Bank of England, becoming the first ever foreigner to be
the governor of the Bank of England, like in the UK. Really, I didn't even. Interesting. So, and that obviously sounds like a really like important position. He's used to being in positions of influence and of substantial like consequence in decision making. That's all good things. And none of it, I mean, I'm sure with banks and stuff, there's like a little bit of politics in there, but he's not like some career politician. So I do tend to like that about him. Again, I don't know his like policies and stuff, so I can't talk about that or anything. But yeah, really interesting actually. Governor, you guys seem to use the word governor differently than Americans. Which makes you very strange and weird. We use the word governor differently. We use it the right way. No, I'm kidding. That's my American impression there. But yeah, we have governors of states, but if you think about it, a governor is just, the definition of a governor must probably in general is just a leader of any kind of group of stuff, I imagine. But I'm not used to hearing it used in that way. He's the governor of a bank. I think that's just kind of like a American thing I'm harping on.
Be named to that role. He later agreed to stay on at the helm for 2 extra years to help ease the Brexit transition. More recently, Carney worked for investment firm Brookfield Asset Management, served as the United Nations Special Envoy on Climate Action.
Wow.
2/3 of carbon being priced by the end of the decade.
For years, he supported a carbon tax, only to walk away from the policy at the start of the leadership race.
Why don't I become a circus clown? I mean, it's like...
For more than a decade, Carney toyed with the idea of running for the top job of the Liberal Party.
I have gainful employment, and I intend to continue it.
It is funny because it feels like so many people who end up in politics and end up like in positions of power start by saying, "Oh, politics? No, not never." I know there's an old clip of Justin Trudeau, like he's like, politics? No. I want to be a teacher. It's like, okay. Then Mark Carney's like, no, I want to be a banker. There's old videos of Donald Trump being like, oh, no, not politics, not never. President? No. It's like they all end up doing it.
2020, Prime Minister Trudeau tapped Carney to serve as an informal advisor on the government's pandemic recovery plan.
Oh, wow.
So,
He immediately became a front-runner in the leadership race when Trudeau resigned earlier this year. He has never held public office, but Liberals bought his pitch.
Wow.
Now he will have to convince Canadians.
Wow. That's really interesting. He definitely seems qualified. Like, when you think of what your resume should be for being the leader of a country, it's pretty intense. But he has lots of experience with... Seems like he has tons of connections in Canada and internationally. Governor of the Bank of England. Seems like a super educated guy. His story is actually really interesting. Like, there's a lot of people out there who want to be in politics. There's a lot of bankers and really intelligent, successful people that probably have similar backgrounds to Mark Carney. All of them, or many of them, want to be in politics, but they have the resume, but they don't have the charisma or the ability to speak to the people and connect. So Mark Carney seems unique in that he had this pretty impressive background, and also the ability to get up on stage and talk and be relatable and win this thing. So let's keep going here. There's a couple more articles I want to take a look at. That was super helpful in just explaining to me why Mark Carney, who and why. So that's great. That makes a lot of sense to me. It says, oh, what are these at? What's this banner at? Go, what? Okay, anyway, it's gone. Okay, the banner ad. Anyway, in landslide win, Mark Carney chosen as new Liberal Party leader and next Prime Minister. So again, the landslide win. It was largely a campaign that was a referendum on who is best to take on the U.S. president. That's something that I've also heard, which is pretty weird as an American, hearing that other countries have to make decisions just based on how unpredictable and difficult my leader is. So that's interesting from my perspective, and kind of not awesome to hear, but it makes sense. Blowout win. He's never been elected, but he got a lot of the votes. 85% of the points, handily winning. Wow. He was the front runner. Okay. Is there any other... Ooh, he did a 32-minute speech. Jeez. I might take a look at that, but that would take a while. I might look at that. I felt we needed big changes. Walking on the stage to the song Crier Tout Bas by Montreal artist Coeur de Pirate, Carney told a crowd of supporters, "Everything in my life has prepared me for this moment." That's really what it actually seems to me, getting his little bio there real quickly. 2 months ago, I put my hand up to run for leader because I felt we needed big changes, guided by strong Canadian values. Wow, 2 months ago is when, to go from just whatever he was doing, counting $20 bills, to probably doing more than that. But at his bank, doing bank stuff to leader of Canada. Jeez. Crazy story, actually. What else do we have here? It says Mark Carney is the new Liberal Party leader. Sure. Let's listen to this.
The following are the results of the first ballot with 151,899 votes cast.
How many?
809 with 151,899 votes cast.
150,000? He got 150,000 votes. I think like this was just a liberal election, but there's like 40 million-ish Canadians and only 150,000 votes? How does that work? Huh.
In 1,100.
Okay, this is literally just like saying the results.
In first place, the next Prime Minister of Canada, Mark Carney, with 131,674 votes, resulting in 20.
Yeah, he's not jumping off his chair. I'm guessing the writing was on the wall. It feels like he kind of knew he was going to win. In his acceptance speech, Carney promised the government will keep Canada's tariffs on until the Americans show us respect. That's a quote. Until the Americans show us respect. And that's probably what it's going to take, honestly. Jeez. All proceeds raised through tariffs will be used to help workers. Right, because now Canada is doing tariffs and therefore raising revenue in the Canadian government, collecting that percentage of money from Canadian companies buying American goods. And that's going to go to help workers. Okay. We didn't ask for this fight, but Canadians are always ready when someone else drops the gloves. These hockey references is so Canadian. So Americans should make no mistake. In trade, as in hockey, Canada will win. Wow. Saying that Canada's not only better at hockey, but better in trade and will win. Strong words. Probably what Canadians want to hear as well. Anything else here? Who is Mark Carney? We already watched that already. This is kind of his background. Carney says Polyev will let the planet burn. So part of this is that Mark Carney, now as the Liberal leader and next Prime Minister, there's going to be an election, right? A general election. And it's either going to be Carney or Polyev. So he's already kind of going on the offensive, getting ready to try to win that election, which is going to be a lot bigger, right? If I understand correctly. He dedicated a chunk of his speech to attacking the man he will soon face off against, conservative leader Pierre Poilievre, right? Calling him a lifelong politician, and just like all the others, basically. And that he'll let the planet burn. Ideology? Wow. Wow. It's beginning. Wow. Anything else here? He was the front runner. Speeches from Trudeau. Trudeau told the crowd he's damn proud of what his party has accomplished over the last decade. Okay. There's a speech Trudeau made. Let's jump ahead to the next. Here we go. Mark Carney steps into an unprecedented moment. Oh, man. Yes, indeed. What an interesting moment in time. And man, if you imagine from his point of view, and just Canadians, he's your representative now, stepping into the leadership position in this tumultuous time or unprecedented moment. Let's see. Let's see what it has to say. Carney has both feet firmly in the political world now. Huh. Who's Mark Carney? 59-year-old father of four. Governor of several banks, finance. Yep. I just want to scroll down here and maybe talk about what this means for Canada and where Canada is going now. Now, the exciting part's over. We have the next Prime Minister of Canada decided, and now I just want to know what it all mean. What does it all mean? What's about to happen? Because this is mostly talking about who Carney is. And I think I've gotten the answer to that question for the most part. Oh, he had a victory speech. Yes. Yes, yes, yes. Embracing Trudeau and Carney embracing. It would certainly be easy for Trudeau to have hard feelings about like having to resign and Carney is his replacement, but it feels like Trudeau is kind of graciously handing off the mantle to the next liberal leader. People say that Joe Biden was really not happy about how having to relinquish running for the next president to Kamala Harris, and there was some little bit of hard feelings there. Hard to tell from this photo, but they seem to be having a good time. Change was Carney's second favorite. Oh, the word change was Carney's most popular word that he used. So he's talking about change, Canada having change. And Carney's second favorite word was build. Canada has to build. Hinting at what sounds like a wartime effort, right? He said, we will have to do things we haven't imagined before at speeds we didn't think possible. I mean, this is the good part about having somebody in office who's not just a career politician. At least in American politics, the government works extremely slow and very inefficiently in our experience, wasting a lot of money, not accomplishing that much, getting into deadlocks, and basically taking forever to make policy decisions a lot of the time. Whereas a business, if you come from a business background, typically those type of things can move more quickly and you can actually make tangible decision making and changes. And that, I think that's the kind of thing Canadians probably find appealing, that maybe Carney can actually get some stuff done. What that stuff is, I'm not exactly sure. But there you go. But I like this getting stuff done at high speed. That's good no matter what country or what government. I think that's what you want to hear out of your leader. His slogan will be Canada Strong. Canada Strong. Okay. And finally it says, now what? Here we go. This is probably a good place to kind of end off on. Mark Carney dominated the race to replace Justin Trudeau. Now what? Governor General must swear him in. Okay, I was wondering about that. He's not the prime minister yet, right? This only happened like very recently. So I imagine they're going to want to instate him into the prime ministership quickly, right? Start this whole thing. I don't know when that happens. Wow, 85% of the votes. He did win in a blowout. He's not sworn in yet. He is the prime minister designate. No date has been set to take office. Got it. Trudeau is still the prime minister. Yes. He'll do that for a few days or weeks to help with the transition. Okay. Does this mean we're having a federal election? It looks like Canada is heading that way. When exactly it might happen is less clear. Yeah, I'm a little confused about all that. When the Canadian election happens? Carney is not currently an elected MP and doesn't have a seat in the House of Commons. Oh. So you don't have to, so you don't have to be an MP to be prime minister, right? Because I relate this to the United States so I can understand a little bit better. Anybody can be president. Any schmuck can be president of the United States. You don't have to be like a senator or anything. Seems to be the same for Canada. It seems to be hints that an election will be called soon, even before March 24th? Before March 24th? That's very soon. Carney will have to appoint a cabinet. Okay. What about the tariff threats from Trump? Carney vowed to continue to stand up against U.S. President Donald Trump. He says that the U.S. is attacking Canadian workers, families, and businesses. Yeah, I guess. So one of the things I was wondering about are what are the issues in Canada that Canadians want Mark Carney to address. And this is one of the biggest, isn't it? It's, again, I say this a lot now. It's so strange as an American. America is a huge issue for Canada. And that's one of the things that Mark Carney has to kind of deal with. Wow, my government will keep our tariffs on America until Americans show us respect and make credible, reliable commitments to free and fair trade. Okay, good luck. I mean, I would love that. I'm just being a little facetious because it's like, with how things are going so far, and given who is the president, getting reliable commitments to that kind of stuff, we'll see. What about leadership candidates who didn't win? Chrystia Freeland. It'll be decided if she has a role. Wow, it's a good article. Is that it? Yeah. All the writers and reporters at the CBC did a nice job with this. So I think that's pretty good. They did a good job kind of making a couple things that even me, an American, can kind of get a grasp on what's going on in Canada. Because goodness knows, this is making some headlines in America. But again, with not much explanation. It's like in America, the news is like, Canada has a new prime minister, Mark Carney. Okay, on to next. And we're all like, what? Who's he? What does this mean? What's going on? So this all kind of really cleared a lot of that up for me. So in that sense, this was really quite productive and, I don't know, super interesting for me. So I'm glad to be more educated on this. So anyway, if you enjoyed this as well, feel free to give this video a like or leave a comment if you're Canadian and you have some thoughts about Mark Carney and your government and all this stuff. That'd be really interesting to hear about. And if you're interested in more videos like this, me reacting to Canada and learning about Canadian culture, feel free to subscribe for more. And until then, thanks for watching and see you next time.